uh, for any reason you're having some problem with your files, or if some part of the class isn't working with you, I left for you this file here of Unreal 5 here in the description below, okay, so that you can follow with me and we can put the lights together, okay, and you can follow my class, okay, so you can download there, uh, and if everything's okay with your file, so let's open the project. Clicking double click. All right. Great. We closed Unreal in wireframe. So let's get back to lit. By default, the scene that is shown to us is default that we changed and we got it back here in edit project settings. All right, we had changed and now we got it back, the default project of Unreal, and I advise you to let it like this. Okay, so let's open our project that is here, all level, and you tell me, oh, it's black, there's nothing here. Wait, there is. Look at this. Our house is here. We're not seeing because there is no light in the scene. Okay, so let's put lights. Basically, to light the scene in a natural form, in a natural way in the real world. Let's go here, lights. Basically, what we have in the real world. Okay, the directional light. Let's talk a little bit about light. We have the directional light, point light. It's like a light that is showing light from the center to the sides. Okay, like this. Look, you see? That's the point light that shows lights 360 degrees. The other type of light, we have the directional light, that is the sunlight. Okay, the sunlight is like this. Okay, that is the one that we had. All right, the spotlight, look at this. Let me see it. Look at this. All right, in this type of light, for example, that you're gonna add a texture of IES. We're gonna talk more about it. Another type is rectangular light. Okay, I'm gonna click and drag it. Just press F. Okay, it's a rectangular light. Okay, look at this. And we also have the skylight, right? To the world, to the atmosphere, and also to the natural scene. We need the directional light, right, to simulate our sun. Look at this, our sun. We need also a sky, okay, that's gonna represent our sky. Look at this. We have the directional light of the sun. We have the sky that is gonna do the function of storing what it is seeing, okay, the light that is getting inside, okay, and emit this to help us with the secondary light, okay, the light of the sky in the blue shade. Okay, we also need a sky atmosphere, okay, to generate the atmosphere. Okay, it is here. Sky atmosphere. This is the load of post-processing. We're gonna talk about it after. It's like a Photoshop, okay, inside Unreal Engine. Here where you're going to adjust temperature, contrast, white balance, camera adjustments, effects, a lot of things. All right, it's very important, but we're gonna add this after. Okay, sky atmosphere, we need this now. Cloud, volumetric cloud, exponential high fog, we need this, for example, to emit the fog in our scene, the smoke of our scene, okay? This is a sphere, okay, that can capture reflection. We use this element when we choose the method of reflection, not in the lumen type, okay, but the in screen space. Let me talk about something here. Project settings. Do you remember that we came here in rendering and we changed here reflection mode? We put to none. Do you remember that? If you see here, we have screen space here that basically is gonna look into your scene. It's gonna store the reflection and it's gonna show it to you. It's used a lot in games. So it has a lot of features to try to simulate in an optimized way, in a light way, okay, the things of the real world, okay? For example, to show us the reflections, one of the technologies that can be looming, retracing, is the screen space, okay? And to use the reflection system of the type screen space, you need to have in your scene visual effects and sphere reflection capture, okay? This sphere is gonna capture the image of your scene of the type spherical, and it's gonna emit in your screen the reflections, okay? This one as well, okay? Box reflection capture. It's gonna look at your scene and show you of the type box, the captures of the reflections, okay? Planar reflection is a type of reflection. It's very used, for example, in mirrors, okay? And the decal actor we're gonna use, that is to bring surface irregularities. For example, water stain, a crack on the wall. It's like a stick. For example, like a stick that you put on the wall, all right, or any surface to simulate an irregularity, okay? We're gonna use that as well. Now we're gonna add a sky atmosphere, okay? Let's put in the scene, we just did it. Sky atmosphere. Okay, we have these elements in the scene, sky atmosphere, and the directional light. First, let's select the directional light. Let's go into details and let's change some things here. For example, one of the things that we have to change is to select, and let's go and configure this as movable, okay? If you look mobility here, we have 3 types of mobility. The first one, second one, and third one, okay? In our course, in this course, we're gonna use lights of movable, okay? But talking in general, the mobility of the light is responsible for the type of light and how the light is gonna be generated in your project. Basically, we have mobility in all the lights. For example, in the directional light, we can select static, stationary, or movable. In the skylight, we can put static, stationary, and movable. In the sky atmosphere, we can put these 3 assets, these 3 as well, okay? Features as well. What is that? Well, basically, the mobility determines and like in how your scene is gonna be lining, okay? How the elements are going to behave. In Unreal Engine 5, using the method of the type looming, all things happen in real time and in a dynamic way, okay? Movable. Using, for example, Unreal 5 or Unreal 4, we have a method of lining, of directional light, of the type stationary and static, okay? When I select these 2 options here, these 2 methods of mobility, I'm telling to Unreal that I don't want the movable lining. I don't want my mobility in real time. I want to store the information about the light, like shadows, directional light, indirect light, shadow of contacts. I want to store in some place. That means this light is gonna be static. Okay, it's not gonna move. When I select directional light of the type static, that means that uh, I'm using some process of lighting, some method of lighting, and I want to store the information of lighting in a static form, not in a dynamic way. Okay, so if it is static, that will not move. Okay, so after storing this information in some place, I will not, for example, be able to change the position of my son, because if you look at the screen, that brought us a message of preview, because I'm using for my directional light the system of lighting static. Okay, so the system of lighting is static. Okay, um, this way I will not be able to move the position of my light, or I can choose the stationary form. All right, that is the middle ground of the static light and the dynamic light, which means that the type of fixed light and the type of light in real time. Okay, if I use this type static, I have benefits and cons. uh, One of the benefits, I have more fluidity in my scene, more frames per second, and the result of bouncing directional light, they will be stored in some place. Okay, in channel 2 of my model. And to do that storage, we need to use a feature inside Unreal called Build. That is a system of processing of light. It's like a render. Okay, uh, we say to Unreal, we want to store the information of light in the geometry using the channel 2. Okay, through build. Okay, it's almost like a render. So Unreal Engine will process this light. It's gonna take a time to process, to do this build, and when it finishes, it's gonna store the information of light and shadow inside the channel 2 of my model. Okay, this feature is more used in Unreal Engine 4. Okay, where we don't have Lumen, because we don't have Lumen in Unreal Engine 4. So it's interesting to use the type of light static or stationary. What is the benefit of the static light? Is the frame per seconds. Okay, they're going to be higher, the frames per second, because as the light is not going to be processing in real time, and it's not the type movable, the calculation is not done in real time. So my graphic card isn't gonna work so hard like that. So when it's interesting to use the static light, well, when you're gonna send this project to a client who doesn't have a really high level computer. For example, my piano house project, I want to send the to the client, and I want to introduce it to my client. So it's interesting if I use the static light, okay? Because things will not happen at the same time in a real time, okay? And it won't be necessary a really high graphic card, okay? And all the calculation is gonna be stored somewhere, someplace, okay? In the channel 2 of my model. We talked about it a lot during the whole course of Unreal Engine 4. In this course, Unreal Engine 5, whereas the big difference is going to be the Lumen, we will not be talking about this, about static light and stationary light, build and channel 2. Okay, we're not going to talk about them. If you want to do this project in a light way to introduce to a client who doesn't have a really high level computer, you can access right below the video the link of the course of Unreal Engine 4. There is a really full course, okay, complete course with like 90 classes where you can learn all about Unreal Engine 4. Okay, you can introduce projects using stationary lights, open mesh, do a lot of things. Okay, basically in this course we're gonna learn all about Unreal Engine 5 to initiate and finish the project, and we're gonna do this using Looming. But if you want to learn about static and stationary, there is the link right below the video. Okay, but remember, you don't need to buy the course. Okay, this course here, Unreal Engine 5, we're using Looming. That is this awesome technology of Unreal Engine 5. During the course, you will identify the advantages of using Looming and also the disadvantages. Okay, then you will have an idea how it is. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's talk about directional light of the type movable, because we're using Looming. Okay, and everything's gonna happen in a dynamic way. We have some details about the light. Here, temperature, you can adjust, but I'm gonna leave it unchecked because we're gonna capture this temperature in real time. Okay, we have some other options here. Cast shadows. We have a lot of things here. Okay, we will talk about them during the classes. Okay, but for now, you can go here, atmosphere sunlight, and you can check this. Okay, verify if it's checked. All right, it's interesting if you leave it checked. Okay, because it's gonna capture the sunlight based on the atmosphere. Okay, when you check this option, it already understands automatically the position of your sun, and it updates the shade of the scene for you based on the position and direction of your sun. Look at this. Look, if I uncheck this, it doesn't consider the position of the light. All right, and it doesn't consider the atmosphere. So let's check this. All right, let's leave it checked. All right, next item is our skylight. First thing, as in the directional light, we need to keep it like movable. All right, we also have the other options, stationary and static. Okay, static needs a process of building to store the information of light in the channel 2 of my geometries, and that's gonna help the FPS. The stationary is the middle ground of storing the information and gaining performance with some features of the movable. Okay, and I have the dynamic light movable that is gonna do everything in real time for me. Okay, so we're gonna leave it like movable, and you're gonna check this real-time capture. Okay, cool, that's it. Next element that we can add is the exponential high fog. All right, that's gonna bring us the shadow. All right, the shadow of the smoke, the fog. Inside details, movable. It is an object of the type movable. Here you can adjust the density. All right, other things. Let's leave it like this meanwhile, and let's add the clouds. Okay, in our project, let's create visual effects volumetric cloud. Okay, and that's it. We added the clouds in our project. Great. Yeah, so if I go to my sun here, as I rotate my sun, that paints, and you can see the lights as well. All right, look at this. It's a shade more like orange. Look at this, the sunset. All right, in real time, everything is happening in real time. The fog, all right, the smoke of the fog. Look at this. look, we can increase or decrease the intensity. I'm gonna put 10. Look at this. If I change it, we can change it, as you can see. Default is like this, all right? The fog over house, and you can activate, for example, so that it understands the volumetric fog. This way, it already brings us the smoke of the volumetric. For example, let's spin our directional light. Okay, like this. Look, I can realize that there is smoke of the type volumetric, the fog. Okay. Look at this. Can you realize this? Look at this. Let's disable the volumetric fog. Perfect. I don't have volumetric fog anymore. Let's activate this. All right. And you have to consider the volumetric fog. Let's just decrease a little bit the intensity because it's too much. All right, cool. Look at this, perfect. This way, we have now the lighting of our scene, the basic lighting of our scene. It's done, okay? So we can keep going with our project. So recapping the class until here, we added a directional light to do the function of the sun. We added an expositional high fog of the atmosphere. We also added a skylight to capture the sunlight, okay, capture the shade of the sky, all right, captured our scene and emit as a light source. And we also created a sky atmosphere so that we could create the atmosphere of the sky, obviously. And we also added the volumetric cloud. Yeah, volumetric cloud. Okay. All right. So to finish this class, let's organize this so that we can find the elements in a faster way. Right button, move to create a new folder. We're gonna call it effects. Okay. Volumetric cloud is already in there. Exponential is also an effect. Let's move to here. Okay. What else? Sky atmosphere. Yeah. Let's send or move to effects. Skylight is a light source. We can move to lighting. What else? The directional light. We can move to lighting. Okay. This way, we can keep our project always organized. Okay. Let's move all these elements. Let's create a folder and let's call it open. Let's call it landscape. Okay. After we're gonna delete them. Okay. All right. Perfect. And let's create a folder for our static meshes. Let's see. Create a folder, static mesh. So let's save it, our project, and we're gonna keep going in the next class. See you.